If you're playing PrizePicks with $100, this video is for you. And this strategy is easier than becoming better at picks. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which slip type a small bankroll can actually afford. And if you stay till the end, I'll build a real one with you live with real money on the line. Here's the mistake. Most players with a small bankroll bounce between the same two slips. The 2-man power because it feels safe, and the 6-man power because 37.5x feels like the only win big enough to matter. And I get why. When you're starting with only $100, small wins feel pointless. But let's price the safe one first, the 2-man power. If each pick is basically a coin flip, both picks hit together 1 out of every 4 times. A fair payout on a 1 in 4 outcome would be 4x. PrizePicks, however, pays 3x. So the slip that feels safest is quietly giving up a quarter of every dollar compared to the fair payout. The 6-man power doesn't have the exact same pricing problem. Its problem is whether your bankroll can survive long enough for the math to work. And we'll get to that in a minute. And I'm not explaining this as someone who can solve every losing streak by simply betting more. PrizePicks has my account limited to $5 entries and $25 a day. Why? Because I actually know how to profit. I've been forced to play like the smallest bankroll in the room for months, and I still made enough over the past year for them to send me a 1099. So everything you're about to see is the version of this strategy that survives even with small entries, because mine has to as well. Now let's move on to the other extreme, the 6-man parlay that everybody wants to play. You put in $20 and you get $750 in return. Sounds appealing. The multiplier actually isn't the real problem. The 6-man is priced closer to fair than almost anything else on the board. The problem is how rarely it pays. Even with strong picks, you only hit all 6 a couple of times out of every 100 times. And a $100 bankroll betting $20 at a time doesn't get 100 tries. It gets 5. Later, I'll show you the exact chance that all 5 return nothing, and it's worse than you're probably expecting. So, a small bankroll has 2 problems. Entries that are too large and slips that pay too rarely. The first problem that we're gonna fix is size. And my rule for this fix is simple. 1% of your bankroll per entry. Every single time. Why? Because it's very easy. Take your bankroll and drop 2 zeros, and that's your entry. The advanced version is the Kelly Criterion method, which sizes your bet based on the edge and the payout. On realistic PrizePicks edges, Kelly usually lands between roughly 0.5% and 2% of your total bankroll. And that's why I use the 1% rule. It sits inside the realistic range without having to do a lot of math. And remember this for later. The Kelly Criterion method says that a 6-man power deserves less than 0.5%. On a $100 bankroll, 1% is $1. A dollar may feel pointless, but that feeling is exactly what pushes people into $20 long shots. The $1 entry makes a $100 bankroll playable. 100 properly sized attempts instead of 5 oversized ones. At this stage, survival is the job. Your bankroll needs to stay alive long enough for the quality of your picks to show up. Even a 60% pick still loses 4 times out of 10. Once your sizing is fixed, the next question is, which picks deserve an entry? To answer that, you need the break-even percentages per slip. The average hit rate your picks need for a slip to make money over the long term. A 2-man power pays 3x, so each pick needs to hit about 57.75% of the time. The safe-looking slip quietly requires elite picks. A 3-pick power needs about 55%. Now, here's the surprise. A 6-man power paying 37.5x only needs about 54.7% per pick. It's actually one of the lower break-evens per slip type. Like I said before, the 6-man isn't dangerous because it's priced terribly. It's dangerous because the payout arrives so rarely. Now, 5-pick and 6-pick flex entries sit at about 54.2%. and a near miss can still pay. If you go 5 of 6 or 4 out of 6, you still get partial payouts. Meanwhile, the 3-pick flex, the one that feels safer because it pays at 2 for 3, needs about 59.1% of the picks to break even. One of the safer looking slips has the highest break-even percentage, and that's by design, unfortunately. So now we know the target. Depending on the slip type, we need picks averaging roughly 54 to about 58% or better, and that's per pick per slip type. PrizePicks doesn't tell you whether a pick clears that number. Their job is to take your money, they're not going to do that. But the rest of the market does. If you find the same prop at a major sportsbook like FanDuel and remove the VIG from both sides, that gives you the market's estimated probability. Now, if you do that across 10 different sportsbooks, you have a very confident estimated probability. You can check sharp exchanges like NoVig where real money is trading against other real money, because it's 100% peer-to-peer. If you take all that information and the market says one side hits 56% and your slip needs 54% to clear, you got yourself a profitable sports bet. If the slip needs 57.7, it's obviously very hard to find something like that in the market. The same pick can require different decisions because the slip requires a different percent break even. When books disagree, I trust the exchanges first, then FanDuel, and then DraftKings, and then the rest of the market. The more books supporting the same side, the better. That leads to a higher confidence number. And that's the entire process. Market probability versus the slip break-even percentages. If that pick clears the break-even percentage, it can go into the slip. And if it doesn't, it stays off. I don't care if it's hit the past 5 out of 5 games or whose birthday it is. Now we can rank the slip types for a small bankroll. The best, regardless of what other people tell you, are the 5-pick and 6-pick flex slips. They have the lowest break-even percentages per pick, and a near miss, again, can still return money instead of becoming a complete zero. But the 1% rule still applies. The flex option reduces variance, which is a good thing. It does not make an oversized entry safe. The second best is the 4-pick flex, the natural fallback when the board gives you 4 real picks. Third is a 3-pick power, about a 54.95% or higher break even. Fourth is the 2-pick power, and honestly, you should never be playing this regardless. And the reason why I stopped the ranking there is because I've already given you the slip types you should only be playing: the 3-man power and 6 flex slip or 5-man flex slip. Why would you ever play a 6-man power with a higher break-even percentage and no guaranteed payouts even if you go 5 out of 6, when the 5 flex and 6 flex are overall better for your bankroll and require a lower percent odds to hit? If you're still here, you know more about the slip math on PrizePicks than most people who have used this app for years. But the right math can still be ruined by 3 bad habits. First, changing your entry size based on how confident you feel. $5 an entry on Monday, $20 on Friday, then $10 to chase your losses on Saturday. One oversized loss can erase a long stretch of disciplined entries. The 1% rule only protects you when it's actually a rule, so stick to it. Second, only ever playing long shot parlays. If every slip needs 5 or 6 things to happen before you get paid, your bankroll dies during bad variance. Third is only playing on PrizePicks itself. One app gives you one set of lines and no way to shop price. Make sure to download every fantasy app, every sportsbook, every prediction mark you can use legally within your state. More access to more apps means more prices to compare and more chances to find a line that's off. The manual line comparison strategy works, of course, but the problem is repeating it for every prop across every book every single night. That can take tens of minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and that's where most people get back to picking by feel, because the process can be draining. And this is exactly why I automate my process. Here's the exact tool I use. It's called the Optimizer, which compares the PrizePicks board against sportsbooks and exchange prices. It then strips out the VIG and estimates the probability of each side. And it shows the percent odds to hit and which picks clear. The best part is it scans hundreds, if not thousands of player props across PrizePicks every single day across hundreds of different sportsbooks. And it's not changing your strategy at all, it just does it within seconds. The 5-day free trial link is below if you want to run it on tonight's board. But don't leave yet because I promised you a real build. So let's go ahead and dive into using the optimizer right now. So what I have pulled up in front of me is called the Plus EV Optimizer on upside.tools. I'm going to walk you through exactly what you're looking at because at first glance, when you look at this, it can be overwhelming, but it's very simple. I'm going to jump right into how to use this thing. But more importantly, I went over a lot of topics throughout this video. Most importantly, the break-even percentage per slip type. And to build a small bankroll up, I said the optimal slip types are going to be your 5 flex and your 3 pick powers because they have the lowest threshold in order to hit your break-even percentages, right? So for a 5 flex, for a 6 flex, also displayed here on the screen, 54.2, 54.3%-ish, right? We're rounding to decimal points at that point. And then for 3-man powers, 54.95%, rounded up is going to be 55%. So here at the very top here, we have Brandon Marsh under 1.5 HRR, which is hits, runs, and RBIs. If you look across the entire industry here, we're showing under the under column, minus 141, minus 190 on ProfitX, minus 144. These are each different sportsbook projections, implied odds for this exact same player prop that is displayed on PrizePicks. And what this optimizer is automatically doing, it is removing the VIG, the juice, and then calculating the exact percent odds to hit based on the market percentages. So as you can see here, 57.5% at the very top here is the top play across all player props on PrizePicks for this statistically to go under. And if you use the reference point of if you're building a 3-man or a 5 flex or a 6 flex, it's above that threshold. It even is creeping into that territory of a 2-man power. However, 57.5% is a very, very good percentage. And again, I just talked about this for about 2 minutes now. It's probably going to be removed by the time I actually enter in this slip. So I'm going to go ahead and just test it here, see if it's still up here. I hope it is. But that's the whole point of the optimizer, is to catch stale lines very quickly so that you can take advantage. Now, luckily for us, it's actually still up here. So we're going to go ahead and put that in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find 5 other player props here, try to build a 6 flex, and then enter it on PrizePicks. And it's as simple as going down the board here. It's already doing the math for us. Arenado here is going to be next under HRR. We have Brandon Nimmo under singles. And to be honest, these are all unders, obviously. The average break-even percentage is going to be above that 55% threshold because of 57.5, 55%, and 54.7%. The average player prop break-even percentage for a 3-man power is above 55%. This Brandon Marsh play is so good that this slip is actually profitable. So there's the first kind of rundown on how to build profitable slips here using the optimizer. Very straightforward here. A 3-man power is definitely profitable. I'm going to go ahead and enter that, but just because I want to show you guys obviously a long shot here, I'm going to build a 6-man using these same plays here, try to get in another parlay. So let's go ahead and use the same 3. Again, we're still looking at this break-even percentage above 54.2-ish%. Blaze Jordan, don't need to know anything about the player, just that the market here is heavily on the under for batter singles. We have Nathan Church under singles, and this is actually positively correlated because we have 2 unders here for the same team. Let's go ahead and try to lock in this 54.3% from Veronica Burton under points as a last leg. She actually might have been removed. Let me go ahead and give this a quick refresh. And as I was building this, some other plays just got removed. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get in this 5 flex slip here just to lock in the value with some positive correlation. But all of these are above that 54 0.2% threshold, so I'm fine with it. And sure enough, that Brandon Marsh play did get removed on me, but I replaced it here with Zebby Matthews under 5.5 hits allowed. But that just goes to show you how quickly you need to find these plays and how automated software, how important it really is to be a profitable sports bettor, especially if you are a small bankroll builder. What I just did is I walked you through the Plus EV Optimizer, which automatically compares your PrizePicks projections directly to other sportsbook projections across the entire industry, and then weights those averages based on the sharpest sportsbooks, right? But I want to show you guys a piece of software that automates this process even more. Imagine you could literally see the projection here on the optimizer, click a button, and then automatically place the bet on PrizePicks. Well, that is actually possible here. I'm going to walk you through what's called the Plus EV Sniper process. So check this out. The exact same process we just walked through with the optimizer looks the same, feels the same here on the Plus EV Sniper, except there's one major difference. So the first thing I want to show you here is that the update for the Plus EV Sniper is updating every second of every day. I haven't updated this thing in six minutes here, as you can see on the top. But what I can do is I can set it to live, which means it's updating every second. You'll see different player props shift here across many different sports books. So we're not just looking at PrizePicks. However, if I scroll down to a PrizePicks play here, I'm going to try to find one. And sure enough, I have Blaze Jordan here again. What I'm going to do here is select this player, right? And what that allows me to do is then open up the bet slip with all these plays that I have. And I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of these plays here that I've previously selected. But Blaze Jordan here is going to be the #1 play. What I can then do is go ahead and select the slip type that I want to enter on PrizePicks. So for instance, if I wanted to do a 5 flex or a 3-man power, what this automatically does is it does the calculations for me to show me if I'm entering a profitable slip. This is literally a cheat code. So I can fill this here to a 3-man power. As you can see here, these aren't profitable enough for me to enter a 3-man power and this be profitable. So it does all the math for me. However, if I were to turn this into a 5 flex, fill this to a 5 flex, now I have a profitable play. It looks like Azunia just popped up here with total bases. Nick Gonzalez just popped up. And what I can then do is one-click bet this over to PrizePicks. This is the best part, right? And then I can automatically enter this immediately. It literally took me like 5 seconds to do that. It's literally a cheat code. So it does all the math. It automatically compares all these projections back to PrizePicks and then allows me to one-click bet it to enter profitable slips. It's literally that easy. Now, in the previous examples I was just showing you PrizePicks. However, on the Plus EV Sniper, you saw a ton of different other apps. I personally live in Florida, so I had access to all the apps available in Florida. You should switch it to whatever state you live in, obviously, to get access to the most Plus EV opportunities that you can. So be sure to download every single legal app in your state. And remember, 1% of your bankroll per entry. Always verify every pick against the market instead of trusting your gut, and your bankroll will grow. PrizePicks capped me at $5 entries and $25 a day, and the math still worked in my favor. And if I can do it, then you can do it too.